As Kang Hansu enters the slave market, he glances at Cogmos and comments that the sight of it is unappealing. Cogmos questions him, asking for clarification. Kang Hansu describes his perception of the market, envisioning a scenario where an unjust slave owner mistreats a slave, only to be rescued by a righteous individual. Cogmos dismisses Kang Hansu's thoughts as nonsense, mentioning his lack of expectations due to Kang Hansu's past actions, but suggests that Kang Hansu should at least act normally. This statement slightly annoys Kang Hansu, yet their interaction becomes intriguing when Kang Hansu notices a slave being harassed by her owner. Cogmos advises Kang Hansu not to be concerned, deeming it a typical plot meant to elicit sympathy. Cogmos further explains, urging Kang Hansu to observe the slave being harassed, noting that her appearance contradicts her distressing situation. Upon this, Cogmos cautioned Kang Hansu against falling for any tricks and instead encouraged him to follow Cogmos' lead, to which Kang Hansu agreed. As they navigated the slave market, Cogmos indicated an urgent need to go somewhere specific. When Kang Hansu inquired about the location, Cogmos clarified that it was a place specializing in high-quality slaves. The scene transitions, revealing Cogmos and Kang Hansu's successful arrival at their destination. They were warmly welcomed by an elf, the store's manager, who greeted them with a smile and inquired about the type of slaves they were seeking. In response, Cogmos stated his interest in a slave with the blessing of language, and the manager asked about the preferred level of this attribute. Cogmos emphasized that the blessing of language was the primary requirement, regardless of other factors. Just then, Kang Hansu interjected, suggesting that they also request a slave who could accompany him on his journey. Cogmos conveyed Kang Hansu's request to the manager, who responded that they indeed had a slave who met all the specified criteria, leaving Cogmos astonished. Upon hearing this, Cogmos glanced at Kang Hansu and noted that he already felt pity for whoever the slave was, as he or she would likely suffer due to Kang Hansu's tendency to get into trouble. Upon hearing this, Kang Hansu was left irritated by the comment. The manager then guided them to the top floor, where several high-end slaves were kept, and asked them to wait while she retrieved the requested slave. As they waited on the top floor, Kang Hansu couldn't help but be astonished by the sight of the premium slaves. He then questioned why these slaves didn't wear shackles and wondered if they might escape without such restrictions. Cogmos explained that all slaves possessed a curse or blessing that prevented them from defying their master's will. He directed Kang Hansu's attention to one of the slaves nearby, suggesting he read the slave curse from their status window himself. Just as Kang Hansu began to do so, their conversation was interrupted by the manager, who introduced them to the requested slave, a female demon. Upon witnessing this sight, Cogmos found himself attracted to the demon's appearance and commented on the rarity of a fallen demon becoming a human slave. As Kang Hansu observed Cogmos' reaction to the female demon, he chuckled, implying that he was already aware of Cogmos' fascination. Curious about Kang Hansu's statement, Cogmos inquired further, prompting Kang Hansu to playfully tease him and suggest that Cogmos intentionally requested the female demon slave. Although slightly annoyed, Cogmos decided to brush it off, loudly declaring his intention to purchase the female demon slave. However, Cogmos soon faced a harsh reality as he realized he had no money. Meanwhile, Kang Hansu, who had more than enough funds, proceeded to buy the female demon slave named Diaroka. After acquiring her, Kang Hansu inquired about her backstory, to which she explained that she had once loved a man deeply and was willing to sacrifice everything for him. However, her love was doubted, leading her to become the man's slave in an attempt to prove her affection, only to be abandoned later on. Hearing the story, Kang Hansu couldn't help but find it cliché and let out a giggle, while Cogmos was moved to tears by the narrative. As Diaroka observed Cogmos shedding tears, a surge of anger washed over her, and she turned to Kang Hansu with an intense, threatening gaze. She inquired if she could remove Cogmos from the equation and extract those eyes he used to look at her with pity. In response, Kang Hansu calmly urged both Diaroka and Cogmos to prepare to leave. Unfazed, Diaroka implored Kang Hansu to cease his questioning and insisted that he thoroughly examine her stats. Kang Hansu retorted that he wasn't particularly interested, mentioning that he had already glimpsed her status window earlier. Kang Hansu then noticed Diaroka engaging in a provocative manner, which led him to inquire about her behavior. Diaroka reassured him not to assume anything untoward, explaining that her actions were a result of her slave blessing. She requested Kang Hansu to issue her an order, prompting him to contemplate her request. Meanwhile, Cogmos, still on the ground, shouted at Kang Hansu, threatening to kill him if he gave Diaroka any strange commands. Diaroka, upon hearing this, turned her gaze toward Cogmos, who was visibly frightened. With a menacing expression, she asked Kang Hansu for permission to eliminate Cogmos. Upon receiving Kang Hansu's instruction, Diaroka was permitted to act freely as long as Cogmos was spared. With that authorization, Diaroka proceeded to administer a thorough beating to Cogmos. Meanwhile, Kang Hansu expressed his intention to explore a few more slaves. After several hours of shopping, Kang Hansu acquired a substantial number of slaves, citing their affordability and potential usefulness to him. He subsequently opened a portal to the Orc Sanctuary, leading each slave inside one by one. Amid this process, Cogmos interjected, expressing a desire to discuss something with Kang Hansu. Kang Hansu inquired about the matter at hand, and Cogmos revealed his change of heart, stating his newfound intention to remain with Kang Hansu and not leave. However, before Cogmos could complete his sentence, he was abruptly struck by an arrow from behind, rendering him unconscious. In the same moment, another arrow was aimed at Kang Hansu, which he swiftly deflected. With a menacing expression, Kang Hansu remarked on the audacity of being attacked in broad daylight, emphasizing the intriguing nature of the fantastical world, Fantasia. As a result, Kang Hansu and Diaroka effortlessly overcame the attackers who attempted to rob them. Upon apprehending the assailants, Diaroka identified them as slave thieves and proposed a theory that they might have heard about a level 1 individual purchasing a large number of slaves. Assuming that the level 1, Kang Hansu, was carrying a bag of money, the thieves attempted the robbery under their master's orders. At that moment, the guards, alerted by the commotion, started making their way towards the scene. Observing this, Diaroka inquired if she could eliminate the guards, but Kang Hansu advised against it, suggesting they leave the city immediately. Exiting the city, Kang Hansu carried the seemingly unconscious Cogmos on his arm as he and Diaroka entered the safety of the forest. Upon reaching a secure location, Kang Hansu set Cogmos down and encouraged him to regain his senses, rhetorically stating that Cogmos couldn't possibly be so feeble. In response, Cogmos removed the arrow lodged in him and proceeded to heal his wound, affirming that he was far from weak. Upon hearing Cogmos' comment, Diaroka retorted by questioning whether Cogmos had been leading a vulnerable existence, relying solely on his healing abilities. She encouraged him to admit his weakness before delivering a cutting insult, asserting that he was attempting to form a relationship with a woman who had descended to the point of becoming a purchasable slave. Amidst Diaroka's tirade, Kang Hansu's expression shifted to one of displeasure, as he observed his blood-stained clothing. Unexpectedly, Diaroka launched an attack at Kang Hansu. However, he adeptly thwarted the assault and challenged Diaroka, questioning if she perceived him as easily manageable, akin to Cogmos. Witnessing Kang Hansu's successful defense, Diaroka's irritation grew, causing her to step back while emanating a formidable aura. She voiced her doubts about Kang Hansu's supposed status as a level 1, to which he nonchalantly replied by asking what if he wasn't. This response prompted Diaroka to lunge at him, dismissing his level as inconsequential, asserting that he remained a human regardless. Upon hearing this, Kang Hansu's smile widens as he swiftly advances towards Diaroka, declaring his intent to demonstrate the might of her master. With determination, Kang Hansu launches a rapid series of attacks, each inflicting significant wounds upon Diaroka. In a single, calculated motion, Kang Hansu delivers a powerful blow directly to Diaroka's stomach, causing a quarter of it to be obliterated. Remarkably, despite the severity of her injuries, Diaroka endures the assault, managing to withstand the pain. Taking advantage of Kang Hansu's momentary lapse in vigilance, Diaroka executes a devastating attack, slashing across Kang Hansu's chest. As Kang Hansu staggers, Diaroka initiates her own healing process, brushing off her injuries and asserting her resilience as a demon. In an unexpected turn, Diaroka proposes a deal to Kang Hansu. If he utilizes his authority as her master to declare her freedom, she pledges to heal his wound immediately. Kang Hansu responds, expressing his reluctance, while gradually turning around and employing his command to compel Diaroka to remain still. Diaroka becomes frustrated upon realizing that Kang Hansu remains unmoved by his injuries. Her astonishment grows when she witnesses Kang Hansu's gradual initiation of self-healing, further highlighting his formidable resilience. In response to this, Diaroka raises a question, pondering whether Kang Hansu is genuinely human. Kang Hansu offers a straightforward reply, noting their shared healing abilities and suggesting a battle to the death to gauge the outcome. Diaroka, recognizing his command, eagerly accepts the challenge. However, Cogmos intervenes, asserting his willingness to assist Diaroka due to his familiarity with Kang Hansu's fighting style, gained from their travels together. Just as Cogmos is about to elaborate, Kang Hansu surprises him by throwing his fairy dagger, which impales Cogmos' forehead and renders him unconscious. Kang Hansu quips about Cogmos claiming to know him well while not anticipating the attack. Diaroka observes Cogmos with a seemingly disdainful expression, labeling him impressive in a negative sense and extremely bothersome. Kang Hansu interjects, launching an attack on Diaroka, positing that Cogmos' behavior was an attempt to impress her. Diaroka successfully blocks Kang Hansu's strike and voices her distaste for men who lack trustworthiness. They separate, and Kang Hansu emanates a powerful aura as he questions Diaroka about her own betrayal. In response, Diaroka releases an immense aura and counters that while she is indeed a slave, she never swore to be Kang Hansu's slave. The clash between their energies results in a massive explosion. Amidst the chaos, Diaroka sustains substantial damage from Kang Hansu's relentless assault, her healing factor struggling to keep pace with the injuries. Baffled by Kang Hansu's unwavering smile as he launches successive attacks, Diaroka begins to question the kind of man he truly is. Continuing their fierce battle, Kang Hansu maintains the upper hand throughout the confrontation. Recognizing her dwindling chances of victory, Diaroka unfurls her wings, triggering Kang Hansu to swiftly launch an attack in a determined effort to prevent her escape. However, Diaroka manages to evade his strike and ascends into the sky, leaving Kang Hansu astonished by her sudden aerial maneuver. Upon realizing that Diaroka may be fatigued from the battle, Kang Hansu readies himself for a decisive blow. Diaroka, soaring high above, hurtles downward with full force, declaring it her final strike. As she descends, Kang Hansu braces himself to block the impending attack. Unexpectedly, his focus is momentarily shattered when he accidentally catches sight of something surprising, causing him to lower his guard. This lapse provides Diaroka with the opportunity to land her attack successfully, resulting in a massive explosion. Kang Hansu's consciousness wanes as he slowly succumbs to unconsciousness, remarking with a fading voice that what he saw was white. After a brief interval, Kang Hansu gradually regains consciousness, with the outsider god reproaching him for losing due to such a seemingly trivial matter. In response, Kang Hansu attributes his defeat to an irresistible force, further irking the outsider god. Their conversation is abruptly cut short when Diaroka approaches Kang Hansu, her attire nearly in tatters. She implores him to provide her with new clothes. Agitated by the request, Kang Hansu questions why he should comply. However, their exchange is disrupted by Cogmos, who unexpectedly appears to be alive and assures Diaroka that he will find her suitable clothing. Diaroka dismisses his offer with a punch, asserting that it's the master's responsibility to care for the slave's food, clothing, and shelter. Left with little choice, Kang Hansu summons a portal and retrieves a fresh set of clothing. Diaroka adorns herself with the new attire and approaches Kang Hansu, expressing her disappointment in the battle's outcome. She conveys her suspicion that Kang Hansu intentionally allowed himself to lose, leaving her with a sense of dissatisfaction. With resolve, Kang Hansu entreats Diaroka to recognize him as her master, a request she promptly accepts. She explains that their battle served as a test to ensure her master's ability to meet the bare minimum requirements she seeks. Kang Hansu, however, expresses his lesser concern for her motives, prompting Diaroka to request an order, having now committed to being his slave. From the floor, Cogmos vehemently shouts at Kang Hansu, warning him not to issue any outrageous commands. In response, Diaroka steps on Cogmos' face, taunting him about his ability to challenge Kang Hansu in combat. Cogmos is rendered speechless by the challenge. Amidst these interactions, the outsider god experiences sympathy for Cogmos, while Kang Hansu is impressed by Cogmos' resilience, as he can still muster the strength to shout despite sustaining severe injuries. While Kang Hansu contemplates the situation, Diaroka seizes his neck, prompting Kang Hansu to swiftly push her hands away and question her intentions. Undeterred, Diaroka proceeds to embrace Kang Hansu in a seductive manner, explaining that she is merely fulfilling his request for a reward. Kang Hansu clarifies that his intention was not for such an outcome, leading Diaroka to respond by stating that her fatigue is a result of Kang Hansu's actions, and she now leaves him to take charge. Kang Hansu becomes irritated by this turn of events, while Cogmos, who is observing the unfolding drama, expresses his frustration through loud exclamations. The scene shifts to the temple, where we witness the saintess concluding her conversation with the prince. Following their discussion, she remarks on the grave situation of the orcs and the plane nearly facing annihilation. Present in the vicinity is a woman accompanied by a slime, who remarks that it resembles the decrease in the number of gnolls. The woman in question queries if this is the cause for the saintess seeking an audience with her. Addressing her as Celeblis, the saintess clarifies that this is not the actual reason for the meeting. Celeblis, upon hearing this, finds herself recalling Kang Hansu, prompting her to wonder about his current well-being. Returning to the ongoing conversation between the Saintess and Celeblis, the Saintess discloses her reason for summoning Celeblis, to uncover the perpetrator behind the theft of a specific item, Kang Hansu's bag, from her room. The Saintess inquires about Celeblis's ability to identify the thief, to which Celeblis clarifies that she herself cannot directly pinpoint the culprit. However, she explains that her slime companion, Molong, possesses a unique capability that might aid in identifying the individual responsible. Upon learning this, the Saintess raises doubts about Molong's extraordinary abilities, prompting Celeblis to affirm that Molong is indeed a special slime. Celeblis reassures the Saintess, urging her not to be concerned and assuring her that Molong's capabilities will become evident once witnessed in action. Consequently, Celeblis proposes that they visit the scene of the crime, and upon reaching the location, she enlists Molong's assistance to unveil the identity of the intruder. As Molong emits a radiant glow, he vocalizes something incomprehensible even to the Saintess, who possesses the blessing of language. Perplexed, the Saintess queries Celeblis regarding Molong's communication. Celeblis explains that, according to Molong, the intruder and the individual responsible for stealing the Saintess's item escaped through the holy sword adorning the wall. Upon processing this revelation, the Saintess's countenance turns vacant as the implications sink in. The perpetrator of the theft is potentially a hero, with Kang Hansu being a prime candidate. Observing the Saintess's reaction, Celeblis assumes she has deduced the identity of the culprit, a belief the Saintess confirms with a nod. Expressing gratitude for Celeblis's assistance, the Saintess inquires about any way she can reciprocate the favor. In response, Celeblis discloses her intention to visit the Magic Academy and seeks the Saintess's aid for the endeavor. The Saintess, taken aback, seeks clarification if Celeblis intends to become a professor at the Magic Academy. Celeblis affirms this, elaborating that her low level once led to her easy abduction. After her subsequent liberation, she attempted to raise her level through hunting, only to realize her unsuitability for such pursuits. As Celeblis's perspective resonates, the Saintess recollects that Celeblis is a woman who harbors an aversion to conflict. Despite having held the position of councilwoman in the Fairy Kingdom for over a millennium, she has maintained a modest level 12 status. Now, observing Celeblis's desire to enhance her strength, given the prospect of accumulating experience without direct combat through the teacher's blessing, it appears to be a prudent course of action for her. In response, the Saintess's expression brightens into a smile as she assures Celeblis that she is committed to providing assistance to the best of her capabilities. The scene shifts, revealing Oh Hanwoo in the village following his encounter with Choi Gangmin. He exudes a sense of satisfaction, having realized he could match Choi Gangmin's power. Driven by determination, he resolves to assert himself in their next battle. His reflections are abruptly halted by the arrival of a merchant, who announces the delivery of the items Oh Hanwoo had requested. Upon witnessing the multitude of equipment before him, Oh Hanwoo is taken aback by the generosity displayed. The merchant explains that such an offering is the least he can do for someone destined to save the world. As Oh Hanwoo takes possession of the equipment, he inquires about nearby uncleared dungeons. The merchant, regretfully, admits his lack of knowledge on the matter, much to Oh Hanwoo's frustration. Suddenly, Oh Hanwoo notices a gathering crowd and is intrigued by the commotion. Making his way towards the scene, he is surprised to encounter Celeblis, finding her exceptionally attractive. Engaging with the villagers, Celeblis assures them that she harbors no intentions of seeking retribution for past incidents. However, her interaction is interrupted by the appearance of the new village chief, who approaches her and extends a courteous greeting. In response, Celeblis requests that the village chief guide her to the underground basement where she and her fellow fairies were once imprisoned. The village chief readily agrees to accompany her to the basement. Observing these events, Oh Hanwoo finds himself pondering whether Celeblis could be the heroine of his own narrative. Intrigued, Oh Hanwoo approaches Celeblis and activates his unique blessing called Special. He queries if she has something to convey to him. Celeblis negates the effect of the blessing, explaining her confusion about Oh Hanwoo's intentions. This response perplexes Oh Hanwoo, leading the gods to speculate that Celeblis might already be married to someone. Prompted by this speculation, Oh Hanwoo directly asks Celeblis if she is married. Celeblis responds, admitting her intention to marry while recalling the memory of her kiss with Kang Hansu, causing a subtle blush to grace her features. Observing Oh Hanwoo's demeanor, Celeblis's knight prepares to confront him, deeming his behavior disrespectful. However, Celeblis intervenes, sensing discomfort, and urges the village chief to proceed to the basement. Witnessing this interaction, Oh Hanwoo surmises that Celeblis may be concealing something and, as the main character, he feels compelled to assist her. He departs with the determination to investigate further, recognizing that there are aspects of Celeblis he remains unaware of. Later, under the cover of night, The heroes convene, with Prince Alsace providing illumination regarding their upcoming tournament. He outlines the specific territory designated on the map, emphasizing it as the location where the orcs are to be located. The prince elaborates that the heroes' primary objective is to hunt down the orcs, acquire the identity tags fastened to their ankles, and the individual with the highest tally of tags shall claim victory in the tournament, earning the coveted reward of the Soul Holy Sword. Choi Gangmin, who remains visibly irked by his tie with Kang Hansu in their previous encounter, resolves to win the tournament at any cost to secure his position as the primary hero.